I mean, it's actually hard for me to say which is my favorite parts of the Bible because there's just such a bounty of nasty stuff to pick from.
That no one knows.
We talked recently about people actually frown on Islam, and I think there was actually a case in the news recently where a woman was in jail for adultery, and I don't remember where it was. I think maybe it might have been Saudi Arabia, but she was in jail for adultery because she had been raped, and they were going to let her out of jail if she married her rapist. Basically, they would pardon her or something like that. And a lot of people have come down on Islam for that belief, but that belief is actually in Deuteronomy, which is the Old Testament, chapter 22, I think, and I don't remember the verse off the top of my head, but chapter 22, Deuteronomy, it says the same thing, that a man rapes a woman and he's caught, a virgin in this case, the Bible specifies, he's caught, his punishment is to pay her father 50 silver shekels, and then he has to marry her. And so a woman has to marry her rapist, according to the Bible. And then when you flash forward to the New Testament, where Jesus says, well, the Old Testament is good forever, and God is unchanging, and I am unchanging, and the Old Testament is in. You should still be doing that. Okay. And it to in mind the way that it's phrased in Deuteronomy, this is not a crime against a woman. Mm-hmm. This is the rapist committing a crime against the father of the woman because he's defiling that man's property. Yep. That women, really, women. I mean, okay, everybody else leave the room. Women, we need to talk. No. I mean, how could you read that? It baffles me. It baffles me, really, that anyone can read that and call it morality. But it baffles me that I feel like, and they have, to a degree, I don't really want to come down on women that much because a lot of, I guess, the history of women's suffrage has been trying to get away from this kind of barbarism. Right. But
while still believing it.
Sometimes, yeah. I guess that's who I'm complaining to, is religious women. How can you read that and feel good about it? It denigrates you so much. You're barely human. You're property. I mean...
Well, and 15 shekels, or 50 shekels is about $13.50 when you convert it to American dollars. And so, virginity is worth about $13.50 apparently.
Or I mean, forget even virginity, because I don't honestly think that the only, clearly this is not just a crime if it just happens to a virgin. Yeah, any woman who suffers such abuse, it's clearly a crime.
Well, but the reason they put it in terms of virginity is that because in that day when they were
thing.
No, it was they're such high moral values, they stuck to these things, and so if you weren't a virgin, that meant you were married.
Right, and then there's the other passage.
Then you would kill the guy because you've offended the other man.
Well, and then there's the passage in the Old Testament, and this one I don't know. It's probably Leviticus, because Leviticus has got some of just the nastiest of the nastiest shit in the Bible. But Leviticus, I think, is the verse where if you marry a woman, mm-hmm. and on your wedding night you discover that she's not a virgin, right. Which I'm assuming means the hymen is not intact, which, by the way, sometimes the hymen can rip from athletic activity, such as running, whatever. But the point is...
You can actually grow out of it as well, when you're 16
sure.
or 17.
So it doesn't even necessarily mean sex, but the point is, I'm assuming this is the only way that you could determine if a woman was a virgin on your wedding night. If you discover that she is not a virgin, you are to stone her to death on her father's doorstep. So that is totally how dare you give me this? Words fail. Words fail.
But
I mean, seriously, I know I'm supposed to have, because I've said it before, that I don't want to swear on this show because I don't want to scare people away from the conversation. Right. Fuck you.